Hello everybody and welcome to Buy or Buy, a new show that I've just started up where I take a game of my choosing, put under a spotlight and tell you whether it is worth buying or saying goodbye to. And today we are looking at the brand new release on the PS4 at the moment, and what everyone seems to be talking about right now, No Man's Sky. Is it any good? Is it worth purchasing? And is it worth your money? That is the question we're going to ask today. Now, I spent a good about 5 hours, maybe 6 hours with this game, and I've got a good idea of what this game is going to be out in the future, what it's going to be like in the future. Haven't got to the real meat and the bones of this game, but I am just starting out, and I've got a feeling of where it's going to go, and I'm pretty sure I know where it's going to go from here, and what else it's going to offer me and put in front of the table, unless I'm missing something at the moment. Now, what we need to talk about first of all is the four core elements of this game at the moment, which is explore, discover, mining and surviving. That's the way I feel it is anyway. It was advertised that it was something to do with fighting as well, which is a little part of it. I do find that when you're fighting off sentinels and you're fighting off space pirates, but that's a very, very small percentage of what this game is about. And I feel like it's very reminiscent, especially in the first hour or so of Minecraft, where you're plopped on this planet and you have to gather materials and all that, to not build a home like I don't do in Minecraft, but you have to gather materials to repair your ship and to fly off into space and explore the galaxy from there. And you do spend an awful long time on this first planet, which is good in a sense, because I know what that's the developers want. They want you to take the time with this game. They want you to explore around, start scanning the area, start having a good understanding of how their ecosystem works and how what materials do what and stuff like that. And that's good and all, but I do feel like it's kind of a double-edged sword, where it does feel like grinding sometimes, and you know, there's pros and cons for either one of them, and it really does depend on how much how much patience you got with this game and stuff like that. So, you know, it's each to their own, I suppose. Now, what this game relies on heavily is a sense of adventure and a sense of wonder as well. It reminds me an awful lot of those choose your own adventure books that I used to read back at school, or maybe you used to read back at school. There was tons of them in the library, I used to remember, and it would be, if for any of you don't know what they are, you'll come across a certain a situation in the book, like say you would come across a door or come across a cave, or you're about to fight something, and it'll be like, oh, turn to this page to do this, or turn to that page to do that. And in the game, you'll come across these blocks of text, like you're looking at screen on right now, and you'll come across different choices. And it's not game changing, the choices that you make, but for example, I came across an alien in a space station that I wanted to trade with, and the only bit of language that I understood from him was the word rare. And I had three things I could have given him, and so because I understood that word rare, I gave him the rarest thing in my inventory, and he was very pleased with me, and he gave me something back in return and all of that. But I have a feeling that if I gave him anything less than, you know, than the rare thing, I would have found myself not trading with him at all, or he might have seen me as hostile. Who knows? But it's bringing up that idea of sense of adventure and just stuff like that, and that's really good, because that's the sort of thing that we need a little bit more in gaming. The last good game to do that was Minecraft, I think, and it gets you talking to your friends about the certain situations you've been in, like, oh, I went to this planet and this thing happened, and stuff like that. You know, each playthrough is different, and that's a really good thing as well. Especially like when you first start off on this planet. This planet is your planet. It is you're the very first person to be on this planet, and all the things around you are different new species and all of that. They're not going to be on any other planet, I don't think. And you do get to name the planet a little bit later on, and you do get to, if you start scanning things, and you can start naming them, and you can get the units, which is the currency, and eventually you'll go off into the world, and this is basically a rinse repeat sort of situation, and it's really good. Like for, you know, a good community and stuff like that, and a really good idea, but put into practice. But the bad thing I have to say about this is the game developers do choose quantity over quality, and that is the biggest thing I have to stretch out for this game. Yes, it's amazing that they've got 18 quintillion planets on this in this game. I get that, but most of the planets do seem barren, do seem empty, and the things that you find are pretty much almost identical to each other. Like there was this one, like I went on this one planet and I saw this certain type of creature, and then I went on another planet and I saw the same type of creature with a few tweaks here and there made to it, and it was a completely new species. And I mean, yeah, that's great and all, but maybe if they maybe the developers could have reduced down the 18 quintillion planets to, like, say 18 billion. I mean, yeah, it's not a lot, but use all that memory space and time and all of that to make each planet like more thriving with alien life, more you know, make the species that you find a bit more diverse. And you know, like, it just seems like you're going into a barren wasteland every time you go on there, and it's run by nothing but sentinels. You may find the odd alien here and there that you want to trade with, but it's nothing like, I'd imagine it to be like Star Wars, where you'd go on to Tatooine and there'll be this like thriving community or whatever that you just stumble across, and it's nothing like that at all. And that's not what I was expecting, but I think the hype just kind of ruined this game for me. And I'm not saying that it's bad at all. There is definitely some good and bad things in this game. One of the good things that I really like about this game is how the developers have implemented like the scientific periodic table into this game. Like, they've added some of their own elements into this as well. We've got stuff like iron and copper and carbon and oxide and stuff like that, but they've also added things like Thamium 9, and each element has its own place in the universe. Like Thamium 9 would fuel your ship, or like iron would repair your shields for your ship, and like carbon would, I don't know, it does stuff like that. And each little thing that you see around you, from the trees to the animals to the rocks on the ground to the crystals that are growing out of the ground, all has its place in the world. You don't need to learn every single element, and you don't need to know what every single element does. That's fine, because I figured out that it's all color coded into certain groups. Like red would mean power, and like blue would mean like different like crafting materials, and it's just stuff like that. And once you figure it out for yourself, then you're all good to go. You don't need to learn anything like that. But I just found it really cool how they've worked their own ecosystem into this, and how everybody has like a universal language with these elements. Now, briefly touching on space travels and space battles as well, just for a second, they seem really real, really like fun to do, and traveling from one planet on the other seems like its own like adventure in itself. It reminds me of a lot of those scenes in Star Wars where Han and Chewie would punch and go into hyperspace, and you would just see like white bright lights as well, and it's really like reminiscent of that. And it's so much fun, and it's when you're fighting in space, it feels real. It feels like a real thing, and like as close to a space battle as you could possibly simulate in a PS4 game anyway. And yeah, good job. It's so much better than Star Wars Battlefront, you know, quite ironically, a game which has revolved around, you know, battling in the galaxy in ship or on land, and a game like No Man's Sky, an indie game for that matter, can blow something like that out of the water. It just goes to show how EA are really screwing up Star Wars Battlefront, but I digress. That is a different topic for a different day, so let's move on. Now, I mentioned earlier how these planets do look the same and feel the same, how they feel like barren and empty as well and all that. But as far as like environments go, some of them are completely different entirely, like they're their own beast. Like, you would land on this planet and you'll have to determine or how like of the weather and the environment, or how radioactive or poisonous or toxic or whatever it is on the planet. As soon as you step out the ship, you have to take everything you see around you into account, like even like from the fucking temperature of the atmosphere. Like, if it's too cold, then you'll start to take damage a bit quicker. If it's radioactive, then a little bar will go down just to see how long you will survive on that planet. Same goes for you know, toxicity and stuff like that. And it's really cool to see that, but it does make you think like, oh god, you like make you cross your fingers when you head for this undiscovered planet. Like, please be all right, because as soon as I step out of that ship, are you going to give me trouble? just to round everything up on the conclusion here, I do feel like that No Man's Sky was a bit overhyped, and I feel like that it was not what everybody was expecting. The trailers do seem to hold true to this game, but a vast majority of it is focused on the exploring and the mining side, whereas I kind of thought that it'd be split evenly between everything. You never know, it may get better as I go along. It is pulling me back into this game every time I break away from it. Like, I did spend like a 3-hour session on it at once, just having that like, oh, I just want to do this one more thing, and I just want to go here, and that eventually led into more of these sessions, and like me just wanting to do just one more thing, and it ended up being like 3 hours later, and that is perfect. That is what a game should be. And when I was at work or something like that, it did make me start thinking about the game while I was away from it, being like, oh, I really got to start doing this, or I really got to like name those things, or really got to like start trading in so I can get like my hyperdrive fixed or something like that. And that's perfect again. But it does fall short. I do feel like it was overhyped. So the question is that I'm going to ask today, is it worth buying? I don't think it's worth buying just yet. It's definitely not worth £50 that it's being purchased for at the moment. I do think it is worth around about £30 to £35. So maybe get it pre-ordered if you're still interested in this. Maybe get it when it goes down a little bit in a few months' time. It's definitely worth checking out at some point in its when if you do get the chance. If you're bored one day, maybe just pick it up. It is definitely a good time killer game. You can stick on the music in this is fantastic. I forgot to mention this as well. It definitely does set the tone, set the environment of this game as well. But yeah, I digress. Yeah, this game is not worth buying at the moment. I don't think so anyway. Luckily, I bought it for £35. I managed to get it a little bit cheaper because I think I traded something in, or I got a little bit off my card, but that's a irrelevant story. The point is, not worth £50 at the moment. Maybe you should wait for it to go down just a little bit. So I'm going to say goodbye to No Man's Sky at the moment. Until it goes down for a pre-order or a sale, that's when you should start thinking about picking it up. So there you have it, guys. Those are my thoughts and opinions on No Man's Sky. If you like this style of video that I'm doing, where I'm just giving you raw gameplay and my personal views on the game that I'm showing you at the moment, then please let me know in the comments below. Let me know if I can change anything, improve on anything in the future, and I'll happily listen. I'll happily get back to you guys on that. But as always, please like, comment, and subscribe, and share this video around. Every little view that I get helps, as it makes my day and stuff like that. And all the subscriptions as well are absolutely fantastic. So until next time, guys, I will see you later. Take care. Bye for now.